Oh, I'm sorry, can I have this mark, please?
B16, Mom. B16. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. To show you what's been marked as Exhibit 298, ask you to turn your attention to page 22, or any other page that you might feel would be relevant to enable you to answer my question.
Excuse me, Mr. Martins, while he does that, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday in the preliminary instructions, I had told you that you will not be given any transcript of testimony. They seem unfair to you. The lawyers can get transcripts, you guys can't. So the fact that a transcript may exist doesn't mean it's something that's going to be admitted and going into the jury room.
Have you read that page, sir?
Yes.
All right. So let's take the weapons one first. As you're driving around looking for the trailer, is there in your mind any belief that there are any weapons involved in this particular call?
No.
Is there any issue in your mind at that point about officer safety?
No.
So, as you go to a domestic violence call, it never crosses your mind that weapons might be involved.
Not this call.
This call is different than the other ones.
Every call is different from each other.
I would agree. Now, I'm sorry. It's no one cares what I agree. Aren't you taught that domestic violence calls can be one of the most dangerous situations for a police officer?
Yes.
Aren't you taught, sir, that you never know what's going on behind that door in someone's home when you knock on it?
Yes.
Aren't you taught that when you knock on that door to respond to a domestic violence call, that one of your first concerns should be, are there weapons?
Can you say the question again, please?
Can you read it back, please?
Aren't you taught that when you knock on that door to respond to a domestic violence call, that one of your first concerns should be, are there weapons?
Officer safety is the concern.
So that's a yes, you should be concerned about weapons on a domestic violence call.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of officers have lost their life on domestic violence
Objection,
calls,
lack
right?
of foundation, sustained.
So, okay, fine. Now, there's no question in your mind that you had permission to go in that trailer, correct?
It was my understanding that Elvira had given us permission to go in her trailer.
I mean, she told you that she lives in the trailer with Daniel, correct?
Yes.
And Daniel told you that too, didn't he? During the time that you and Officer Chrisman were there. You heard Daniel say that, right?
Daniel never told me if his mother lived in the trailer.
This happened around 12:30 in the afternoon. And later in the afternoon, you had a discussion of what happened with Detective Porter, did you not, sir?
Yes.
About 4 o'clock it started?
I can't be specific on time. I'd have to look at the report to give you an accurate time.
I just said about, sir. I understand.
Yes.
Did you talk to anyone else about this incident? And I don't mean just a sentence or two. I mean, in detail about this incident before you talked to Detective Porter?
No.
So between 12:30 and 4 o'clock, you didn't talk to any other person regarding what had happened in that trailer at about 12:40. Fair enough?
Yeah.
You did call your wife 3 times, or tried to, right?
I'd have to look at my cell phone records.
And when you talked to Detective Porter, he had a tape recorder, didn't he?
Yes.
And he was recording what he was asking you, and what you were saying in response to his answer.
Yes.
And you were, at some point, the interview started outside the trailer. Correct.
Yes.
Then I think there was somebody else or others present there too, but let's just stay with Detective Porter for a minute. And then you and he and whoever else was there walked toward the trailer door, correct?
Yes.
And you walked up to the trailer door with Detective Porter, right?
Yes.
And he said, we can go in, and you said, no, I'd rather stay outside, right?
I'd have to look at the police report to give you a specific answer to that question.
Okay. Let me show you what's been marked as Exhibit 286. I'd ask you if you recognize that as being a copy of the transcript of the conversation you had with Detective Porter on the evening or late afternoon of October 5th, 2010.
Yes.
It does? Does it find it correct transcript?
Looks like the police report, yes.
But it actually has questions and answers. It's not a narrative. Fair statement?
Yes.
You look at the bottom, there's some numbers, right? We lawyers call them bait stamps.
Yes.
Okay, can you look at bait stamp 32? Can you read about the 4th paragraph down, what you're telling Detective Porter there about what Daniel told him, told you and Officer Chrisman?
Yes.
Now, does that refresh your memory that Daniel did tell you that his mom lived with him in the home? Right?
Yes.
But he said he's the homeowner, right?
Yes.
And he said you folks had no right to come in, right?
He didn't say that.
Okay. You see the sentence right before his mom lived with him in the trailer? What is that? Does that help refresh your memory about what he said?
Which paragraph are you referring to?
The one we just talked about where he said his mom lived with him in that home.
Yes.
So he did tell you right then, or you told Detective Porter that he told you, Mr. Rodriguez, that you had no right to come in.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you contacted Elvira Fernandez in the other trailer, trailer 50, and she was there with the Catherine, Miss Black. That was her trailer, correct?
I don't know her name.
there was another lady there.
Yes.
Okay? And you contacted Elvira Fernandez in that trailer where she had sought refuge, correct?
Backup Foundation, sought refuge.
Sustained.
Did you not tell Detective Porter on October 5th, 2010, when you were discussing this matter with him, that you contacted Elvira Fernandez in trailer 50 where, quote, your words, she sought refuge?
Yes.
And she told you that her son was out of control at this point.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Yes.
And your initial contact with Ms. Fernandez, in your opinion, other than yesterday, she was upset, emotional, and desperate. Those are your words before yesterday, right?
I'd have to see a copy of the conversation that you're referring to.
All right. Come back to that in a minute. You told us yesterday that Officer Chrisman went in, and then you went in right after him. Correct?
Yes.
And you told us yesterday that while you were in there, there was some arguing, and while you were in the trailer, after the arguing, Rich Chrisman took his gun out and put it to Danny Rodriguez's head and bent him over with it, kind of like I'm doing. Correct? Or except, I guess, the other way.
Chrisman took out his service weapon with his right hand into, if this were Danny's left temple, it'd be something like this.
Right.
Right?
You were standing right there. That's what you told us yesterday, right?
I saw everything, yes.
No, sir. I said yesterday you told us you were standing right there, inside the trailer, when you saw Rich Chrisman do that. That's what you told us yesterday, right?
I'd have to see the transcript.
Okay. Transcript. Let me see if I can find it. You honestly don't remember what you told us yesterday about something about that? Is that a fair statement?
If you'd like me to explain, I could.
No, I really wouldn't right now. I'd just like to ask you if you remember telling us yesterday that when you told us that Rich Chrisman did that act with his gun, you were standing in the trailer. Inside the trailer.
I was at the breach of the doorway,
Okay.
just inside the trailer.
Please finish. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's find what you said yesterday. Page 40. We'll start about page 42.
42?
Well, I'm sorry. Start at page 40 at the top. Does that refresh your memory about what you said you walked into the trailer then?
I'd have to read a page before,
Sure.
a page after. Yes.
And after you were inside the trailer with Rich Chrisman, arguing, and then you inside the trailer watched Rich Chrisman do that act with the gun with Danny Rodriguez.
Yes.
Right. But that's not what you told Detective Porter on October 5th, 2010, is it?
Yes, it is.
You have the transcript of what you talked to Detective Porter about? Page 36. What you told Detective Porter, sir, is that after Rich Chrisman put the gun to Danny Rodriguez's head, you stepped into the trailer at that point. Isn't that what you told Detective Porter on October 5th, 2010?
Yes, but I believe you're taking it out of context.
Okay. It says, he pulls his surface weapon, puts it to his head, and then returns it to his holster. Detective Porter, what happened then? Virgilio, there was a struggle. I stepped into the trailer at that point and tried to grab Danny's right arm. And on about that.
Yes.
That's what you told him?
Yes.
Okay. You stepped into the trailer after Rich Chrisman put the gun to Danny Rodriguez's head. That's what you told Detective Porter on October 5th, 2010. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. On this tape. Right?
Yes, but could I...
Okay. Just a second. The tape is accurate? I mean, you have no problem with that?
That's accurate, but
But how am I taking it out of context? Go ahead.
I was already in the trailer, and then when Chrisman took his gun and put it to his head, and then he reholstered, and Chrisman got back up, when Daniel got back up and Chrisman stepped away, I walked more into the trailer.
Okay. I'd like to play the audio of what you said, so the jury can hear exactly what you said and how you said it.
Yes.
Let's see if you stepped farther into or stepped in.
Yes.
Okay.
Proper impeachment.
Overruled.
If we'd have Mark, please, so we can replay it again.
We can mark it.
We have marked
Okay.
these clips.
So what number?
And I Exhibit 293, I believe.
Mr. Gann, will this be 293 in its entirety or an excerpt out of 293?
Just the excerpt, yeah.
All right, the page excerpt out of 293 may be played.
Three holsters. Is that correct?
He pulls his service weapon, puts it to his head, and then returns it into
And
his
reholsters it. Okay. When he goes to put hands on, as we would say.
Yes.
What happened then?
There was a struggle. I stepped into the trailer at that point and tried to grab Daniel's right arm, but Daniel kept pulling his arm away from me and at the same time pulling away from Officer Chrisman.
That's your voice, and that's Detective Porter's voice. Correct?
Yes.
But that's not what you meant to tell him? You meant to say something else, that you were already inside?
I demonstrated it as well to Detective Porter.
Ah. There's no video, though, is there?
No.
Let me see if this is a fair statement of your testimony yesterday. Rich Chrisman went into the trailer, you went in right after him, and the only time you left was when Rich Chrisman pepper sprayed Danny Rodriguez until after he had shot Danny Rodriguez.
Yes.
When you observed Danny being shot, you were exactly outside on the porch, though, weren't you, Officer Virgillo? Isn't that what you told Detective Porter on October 5th, 2010?
No.
Okay. Flip 8.
Number
8. Yeah.
Yes, 8. Judge, what exhibit do we have here?
It's still 293, Mr.
Yes.
All right, 293, page,
What do we
Yeah.
have on there? I mean,
I don't, doesn't matter, but what pages are we being referenced so that...
Page 46?
Page 46, Mr. Martinez.
Bates 46, sorry.
Page 46, Mr. Martinez. You may proceed.
When you observe Danny being shot, where exactly are you, if you can remember?
I'm standing, basically my feet are right on the edge of the doorway.
On the outside or on the outside?
Right, I'm maybe,
Are you in the trailer or are you on the porch?
I'm on the porch, but if my nose is basically hitting the plane at the inside of the trailer, that's
Okay.
possible.
So when I said a few minutes ago you told Detective Porter you were on the porch, that is what you told him, isn't it?
I was on the porch.
That is what you told him, isn't it? That was your voice just telling him that.
Yes.
So when you told me a few minutes ago that you didn't tell him that, you were mistaken. Correct?
Yes.
It is true that it was your belief that when you went into the trailer that you needed to detain Mr. Rodriguez to further your investigation, correct?
Initially,
Yes, sir.
we initially wanted to talk to, I wanted to talk, or Chrisman wanted to talk to him about why we were there.
No, I didn't ask you what Rich Chrisman wanted to do. I asked you about you. You wanted to detain him to further your investigation, didn't you?
No.
Okay. Do you remember being placed under oath on July 26, 2012, and being asked a series of questions concerning this incident by Mr. Walton?
Yes.
Okay. Show you Exhibit 292. That appeared in the transcript of the questions you were asked and the answers you gave under oath concerning this incident on that date?
objection, violation, Rule 15.
Overruled.
Is this the deposition for,
Excuse me.
But, Mr. Martinez, do you have a copy of this deposition?
It was never provided to me.
All right, well, you can look over somebody's shoulder to...
I'll give you a copy. You don't want it?
I do want it. Please lay it down.
I take it you've not given Mr. Martinez a copy of your deposition? Is that a fair statement, or have you?
Objection indicates you required to give it.
Okay. That appear to be a fair copy of statements you made under oath on July 26, 2012.
Is this in reference to the...
Sir, can you try to answer my question?
Doesn't matter what it's referenced to.
Oh, okay, I apologize.
And take your time. I'm not trying to rush you. Look through it, and if you need to.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. It does appear to be a copy.
Yes.
Call your attention to page 21. Line 10, did you not tell Mr. Welkin, I wanted to detain him to further our investigation?
Yes.
So when you told me a few minutes ago that you didn't want to do that, you were mistaken.
No.
Okay? But you did make that statement to Mr. Welkin, correct?
Not in the context of your question.
Okay, well, let's read his question. Fair enough. Question. When Officer Chrisman holstered his weapon immediately after Officer Chrisman holsters his weapon, before any physical contact ensued between Officer Chrisman and Daniel, did you feel the need to use force in any way, shape, or form against Daniel? Witness. That's you. I wanted to detain him to further our investigation. Did you give that answer under oath to that question, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And if Daniel had tried to leave the trailer, it was your intent to detain him, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because in your opinion, you needed to detain him so you could start your investigation, right?
Yes.